Hi, everyone. Welcome back. I'm really excited to be here today with Ajay Gupta. Ajay is CEO of Stirista, and he founded the company when he was 26 years old. So we're really excited to have him here as our Disruptor winner this year. Ajay, welcome.
Thank you. Good to see you again.
Yes, nice to see you as well. Ajay, can you just give us a little of your background quick before I jump into the questions?
Sure, yeah. So I actually got interested in marketing at a somewhat young age and accidentally, I would say. So when my family moved to the US when I was 13, and I, for the first time, discovered internet, which was fairly new at the time. And as I was trying to kind of adapt to new culture, um, didn't have know a lot of people. So one of the things I took up was learning how to code in HTML. So one of the things I did early on was just dabbling in making websites and figuring out how to make content very early on. And what ended up happening was one of my websites got featured in the top five when somebody searched, on Alta Vista. This is now dating myself a little bit. And when you searched WWF, my website on professional wrestling of all things was number three. So I went from, getting 100 people a month, so suddenly getting 50,000 people a week. And that's when and this was before DoubleClick days, or it was very early during DoubleClick days. So you really had to sell advertising one at a time. So this was my first, especially as a high school student and then college student. I was like, hey, this is kind of cool. I can make some extra cash here. So that's kind of how I got started in marketing, I would say.
Wow, I love that. I've never heard the full background story, so that's really amazing. And crazy that you were doing that, like you said, in high school. So then jumping in, I would love if you could just give us a little background on like what caused you to start Stirista. What was your vision and your purpose when you really started the company?
Yeah, so I went to college and then grad school. Actually, while I was in grad school, I was working on the Hillary Clinton campaign in 2007 when she was running against Obama for the Democratic nomination. So those were sort of the time period when micro-targeting became a very popular thing in politics. Before that, it had really been about TV ads. And again, a lot of things kind of, I think, happened by luck and coincidence. And given I had had some marketing background, they had put me in a group that was focused on multicultural marketing for the Clinton campaign. And so that's where the original idea came from. Is after the campaign ended, I was trying to figure out, hey, how do I do something that would continue what I was doing for the campaign, but in more kind of a corporate way, or even helping campaigns without having to jump from campaign to campaign, because the instability in that and trying to find a new job every year was just not something I wanted to do. So ended up starting Stirista, which initially all about multicultural marketing. So stirring of cultures was the genesis for the name Stirista. And so we started off really focused on helping customers like Dish Network better understand their customers within their customer database, see who might speak a second language, so they could upsell international programming. So that's the beginnings of Stirista. I think I did about 107 plus calls to finally get a deal with Dish Network. So that was kind of the early days. I had almost kind of given him hope that we would ever get a client, but eventually one landed. And then after that, we were fortunate enough to continue to find uh, companies who wanted to keep working with us.
Wow, that's amazing. And so Dish Network was your first client.
Yes, that was our first kind of that big six-figure client.
Wow, that's awesome. Great. So, it's interesting to hear kind of how it started, and I certainly know where where the company stands today and all the amazing things you're doing. But how has your vision for the company really changed over the years since you started?
Yeah, so initially when we started, it was really about kind of enriching that first party data. And one of the things I always believe in is listening to what the clients are looking for. And 10 years ago, it was everyone was like, hey, this is great. You can help identify the right audience, but can you help us reach them? And we really didn't have the tech to do that. But being an entrepreneur, I always said, yes, of course we do that. So that's how we got started in email. Is we started going to publishers and asking, hey, can we also get the email address from you? And so we started building a massive email database pretty early on, and that helped us sort of evolve into a ESP eventually. And then as especially around right before COVID, things were already moving towards CTV, but we did another acquisition that was all about placing CTV ads because again, we try to do things that people are looking for, and the other thing people are looking for is reaching people online. So our kind of our vision for the company really has evolved into not just being a data company or an email company or a CTV company, but a company that helps you reach all across all the online channels. So that helps us and the companies that we are helping, because a lot of times they don't want to work with seven different people. They don't want to work with a separate data company and somebody who does their AdWords and CTV. So being able to do it in one place helps them work with just one company and get best results, because if we understand their product and if we understand their strategy, we can build campaigns that work for them without worrying about, hey, is CTV even right for them? And sometimes it's not. So we will use other mixes of channels. So the way Stirista exists today, very different than original Stirista that was just kind of focused on enrichment services.
That's great. So now looking at, trends and new technologies and things moving forward, is there anything you're really excited about that's hitting the market, and how are you preparing to adapt to the changing landscape?
Yeah, so much like most companies in our space, we are trying to see the or figure out how to take the hype of AI and make it work for our clients, and how do we improve our internal processes. So a lot of the new tech we're developing is around how do we use AI to simplify the processes we have. Can we make it easier? So a good example is we're building kind of right now, if a client comes to us and they are looking to target left-handed engineers in Alaska. So we'll have somebody who knows SQL sit there and try to figure out what the SQL syntax looks like. And now we're getting to a point where we've been dabbling with AI, where somebody who's a salesperson, without having to go to anybody, could type in a prompt like Chat GPT and get that answer back within our database. So reduce kind of that time lapse that happens when right now you have to, for specific requests, go to a engineer, and something that client services and salespeople can do it themselves. It's kind of an easy example, but we're working on some more complex things as well, like um, during political season, buying ads online can get very expensive because the politicians raise so much money, they're driving up the prices for ads. But being able to use AI to locate inventory, that's going to be the most optimum pricing. Those are sort of things we're doing, little things that end up saving a lot of money for clients.
Wow, I love that. So you mentioned AI. We talked a lot about the online advertising and data and analytics and all of that. But what do you see as the real kind of relationship between some of the traditional channels and these newer channels moving forward?
Yeah, so I think a lot of TV, for example, is evolving, where a lot of people are cutting cord and moving over to whether it's YouTube TV or Google or Hulu, and there's so many streaming platforms, it's hard to even keep track. But there's still space for kind of the traditional TV ads. So you especially start seeing there are fewer of them, but the people that watch TV are a pretty loyal audience. So I think the traditional channels where they have had traditionally succeeded has been in kind of that billboard advertising where they put something out there, whether it's a physical billboard or a TV ad, and there's a lot of people that watch it, but they don't really know who is watching it. Does it have a ROI? So some of the things people are doing now is like the QR code during Super Bowl. There were so many ads for the first time where there were QR codes because they're trying to figure out, hey, how do I get somebody to respond to these ads and actually do attribution and measurement from those ads. And I even have seen some billboard ads that you can point your camera to, hopefully not while driving. But so you're starting to see sort of subtle evolution of traditional channels, where the biggest thing, the biggest advantage the newer channels have is that measurement piece. And as traditional channels get more caught up, I think we'll see more and more companies also use traditional channels if they can see that they're still getting a lift from it.
Very nice. So one of the things we focus on a lot at MCNY is really bridging that gap for students graduating and trying to enter the marketing field. What piece of advice would you give a new student today?
Yeah, so look, it's pretty fascinating now. I went to a small liberal arts college, so marketing wasn't even a degree that was offered. And now, there's very specialized, not just marketing, but specialized marketing degrees that get offered in a lot of colleges, including the smaller ones. But I think the big thing I would recommend everybody is figuring out how to get an internship and getting into it early, to just see whether you even love it, because conceptually what you think is marketing or sales can be very challenging and daunting if you have never done it before and your first job is right out of college. So experiencing what day-to-day looks like, I think that's the big part of it, because a lot of colleges, what's being taught is not practical always in what's being used in the industry. So that's my biggest advice. And the second thing is being curious. And I say this to our employees, a lot of them have been here 5+ years, and people stop being curious on what's happening, because you can do your day job without knowing what's happening in the industry. But in order to kind of keep yourself ready and keep yourself abreast of what's going on, you have to care enough to read. You have to go to various publications and always read what's happening in the world. And I think that's a good way to see if you're in the right job or in the right field or right major, is if you're not curious enough to go to an advertising publication and see what's happening, then it's probably not the right major for you.
Certainly not for a long term. I love that. Ajay, this has been wonderful. It's great getting to hear more of your background and more about Stirista and how you started the company. And we're really, really excited to celebrate with you in almost 2 weeks from now. So thank you again for your time today, and can't wait to see you in person in a couple of weeks.
I'm looking forward to it.